Sold to a widowed duke. Discover the incredible love that transformed my life forever. Mia's heart raced as she stared at the email illuminating her screen. Duke of Barrowview Estate seeks a biographer. Are you interested? The words echoed in her head, wrapping around her soul. It was almost unreal. Could this be her chance? The sun streamed through the window of their cozy Maplewood home, casting golden rays over the walls adorned with family pictures, but Mia's thoughts were elsewhere. This was it. The opportunity she had always dreamed of, but also the weight that could shatter her family's fragile pride. She glanced over at her father, a veteran trapped in the body of a man no longer able to tell his epic tales of bravery. His eyes, once fierce, now peeked through the fog of illness, whispering prayers for comfort. "Dad, what would you say? Would you think I'm crazy?" Mia's heart tightened. She could almost hear him say not to taint their family name by mingling with the likes of nobility. Yet, her hands trembled with hope. The thought of stepping into the world of the Duke of lavish ballrooms and whispered secrets sent flutters to her core. But this world felt foreign and frail when compared to her kitchen filled with the aroma of stew and the laughter of her 8-year-old son, Ethan. Every visit to Barrowview Estate was eye-opening. The estate radiated an icy magnificence, with ornate flower beds that silently mocked her meager garden. The Duke, tall and dignified, bore a heaviness in his gaze that drew her in. His wife's absence hung thick in the air between them, his sorrow palpable, yet he listened to her stories, her dreams of riding and bravery, echoing what her father once embodied. But the whispers of Maplewood were relentless. "She's chasing status now," they said. Mia's heart ached with a pang of betrayal, her community suddenly cold and watchful. Friends turned to shadows, and every whispered comment felt like daggers. Her chest tightened. Am I in too deep? She wondered, the lure of a better life clashing with her family's values and her own self-worth. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The moment her heart teetered on the edge of sacrifice and aspiration was disrupted when scandal erupted. Ripped headlines and gossip flickered through the town. Mia's scandalous affair with the Duke has shattered her reputation. It was too much. The weight of her father's legacy, his pride crumbling under the burden of judgment. The whispers of Lily from the diner, carving into her with biting malice. All at once, she felt like a ghost in her own life, a wisp of the dreams she had nurtured in secrecy. Where did that leave her? As she faced the open door, preparing for the walls of her perceived identity to either rise or fall, a knock shattered the silence. Curiosity piqued, she opened the door to find someone from her past, someone who could change everything. Would they remind her of the hope she had nearly lost? Or would they confront her with the painful choices she thought she had escaped? Mia opened the door, her heart hammering like a drum. Standing there was Mark, her childhood friend, the one person who had always understood her, the boy with the big dreams who had once promised to stay in touch. Now a man, he looked worn but still possessed that spark of mischief in his eyes. "Mia!" he exclaimed, excitement lighting up his face. "I can't believe it's really you." For a fleeting moment, the chaos from outside faded. "Mark! What are you doing here?" The familiarity of his voice pulled at her heartstrings, a tether to simpler times before the weight of scandal pulled her down. "I just got back to town and heard everything. I had to see you." He stepped inside, warmth radiating off him, and the door clicked shut behind him, sealing out the outside world for a moment longer. As they faced each other, the shadows hovering around Mia's life seemed to retreat. "How's your family?" she asked, urging her own worries to keep still. "Managing," he replied, the faintest hint of sadness crinkling his smile. "You always told me to chase dreams. Guess I finally listened. What about you? Are you chasing dreams? She teased softly, battling her own guilt for not feeling regret about hers. He shifted, his gaze steady. I came back because I realized I want to help. You shouldn't have to face this alone, especially not with everything that's going on. It was like a breath of fresh air in her suffocating reality. It's complicated, Mark. Everyone thinks forget everyone else, he interrupted, shaking his head. What do you want? The question hung in the air, heavy and full of possibility. Mia's heart leaped. Did she dare envision a life outside the judgments? I want to write and not just stories about my life here. I want to capture the essence of something bigger, she confessed, taking a step closer, heart racing with the thought that someone might believe in her again. He nodded, an understanding glint in his eye. Why don't you? It's not that simple, she murmured, glancing away, shame creeping back. I have responsibilities now, Ethan, my dad. The whispers, they're suffocating. What if I fail? Failure is part of the journey, Mia. He reached out, gently squeezing her shoulder. But so is courage. You can't let the fear of the unknown stop you from reaching for what you want. You can't let others define you. Mia felt a swelling of hope within her, battling the weariness that had taken hold these past few weeks. But what about the Duke? The question tumbled out, laden with concern and doubt. What if this affair, or whatever it is, drags my family down with me? Let them talk. You're not responsible for their beliefs. You're only responsible for your actions. His gaze pierced through her worries, igniting a fire she thought was long extinguished. But there's so much at stake. She furrowed her brow, her gut churning. She felt at the pull of Barrowview Estate and the Duke's complexity. Mark hesitated, his voice dropping an octave. What if it's not about the scandal or the judgments? What if you could turn it into something meaningful, a story that might change lives, including yours? The words reverberated through her, and a sliver of light broke into the shadows. Could she really shake off the chains of expectation and step into a new chapter, defined by her own choices? Mia felt the knot in her stomach loosen as she dared to consider that possibility. But at that moment, a soft knock echoed from the door, the sound both intrusive and foreboding. Would it be more judgment or something that might finally push her forward? Mia glanced at Mark, uncertainty shadowing her thoughts. What now? She whispered. Would this next moment bring relief or the confrontation she dreaded? The unexpected knock echoed again, sharper this time, piercing through the bubble of warmth Mark had created. Mia felt the tension coiling in her stomach, the thrill of hope still mixed with dread. Should I get it? Mia asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Mark nodded, his expression shifting to concern. Drawing a deep breath, she approached the door, her fingers trembling slightly. Every second felt heavy with uncertainty. She cracked the door open just a fraction, peering through the narrow opening. Outside, a familiar figure loomed, Gabriella, her neighbor and childhood rival, standing with arms crossed, eyebrows raised in judgment. Mia, there you are. Everyone's talking about you, Gabriella said, her voice dripping with a mixture of pity and spite. They're saying you're involved with the Duke now. Is it true? The question hung in the air like a chilling fog. Mia's heart sank, every judgment she had feared flooding back. It's not what you think, Mia began, but her voice faltered. Gabriella's expression twisted into a smirk, and she leaned closer. Not what I think. Then what is it, Mia? Are you trying to save your family name? Or is it something more? Mia felt Mark's presence behind her, a solid rock she desperately needed. His hand pressed lightly against her back, urging her to stand tall. What do you want, Gabriella? Mark asked, his tone firm, challenging. Just wondering how deep the mess goes, Gabriella replied, her eyes glinting. Or how far you're willing to fall, Mia. People are cruel when they smell blood. A surge of anger welled inside Mia. She hated that this woman had such power over her emotions, stirring up old insecurities. "I'm not the one who gets a kick out of gossip, Gabriella," she snapped, a newfound fire igniting her voice. "If you're here just to judge, then maybe it's better if you leave." Mark shot her a look of pride, his encouragement steadying her resolve. Gabriella's smirk faltered, replaced by surprise. It was fleeting but exhilarating. Could she truly push back against the echoing voices in her mind? "Well, do what you want," Gabriella said, flipping her hair back. "Just don't say I didn't warn you I'll be watching." With that, she turned, striding away, leaving a palpable silence in her wake. Mia closed the door slowly, leaning against it, her breath still quick. That was Mark started, trying to break the tension. "Intimidating," Mia admitted, wringing her hands. "It's hard to shake off all that noise." "You did great," Mark reassured her, his eyes bright with encouragement. "Every time you face them, you become a little stronger." She lifted her gaze to him, the flame of hope sparking anew. "But what about the Duke?" The whispers won't stop. "Maybe you need to confront them. Write about your story, explore it. Find your truth. That's where your power lies," Mark suggested, leaning closer, his intensity making her pulse quicken. Mia swallowed hard, her heart racing. What if exploring this relationship could empower her? What if the Duke didn't just lead her into scandal, but offered her the chance to redefine who she was? But just as the idea began to take root, another knock sliced through her thoughts. It was heavier this time, firm, authoritative. "Who is it now?" She gasped, glancing at Mark, a rush of dread curling in her stomach again. "Let us see," Mark replied, moving to open the door, a flicker of determination in his eyes. As he swung the door open, Mia could feel a sudden shift in the air, a whirlwind about to change everything again. The door creaked sharply, revealing a tall figure dressed in dark formal attire, eyes piercing, filled with purpose. Her heart dropped. Was it the Duke? What did he want? "Mia," he said, his voice steady and commanding. "We need to talk." Her mind raced. What did he mean? Was this the moment everything shifted? Mia's breath hitched, a strange mix of excitement and fear swirling within her. The Duke stood there, looking every inch the nobleman he was, but there was something in his eyes that gave her pause. It wasn't just authority, it was vulnerability, a hint of something deeply personal. "What is it?" she asked, trying to keep her voice steady, though her heart was thrumming like a drum in her chest. Mark was close beside her, watching closely, his presence providing a shield against the uncertainty hovering between them. The Duke stepped inside, closing the door behind him with a soft click. The atmosphere shifted, becoming charged with tension, amplified by their close quarters. "I didn't mean to intrude, but I heard about the rumors, and I wanted to clear the air," he said, his tone serious but underlying it was an earnestness that made Mia's pulse race even faster. She glanced at Mark, who nodded slightly, encouraging her to hear him out. "Okay," she said, her voice quiet, but firm. "I know what people are saying," he continued, his gaze meeting hers. "And I want you to understand that what I asked of you was not a ploy to save my name. I want you to see beyond the whispers. There's more at stake here than just our reputations." Mia felt a ripple of emotion within her. Was he truly concerned about her, or was this just another layer of the complicated game they were caught in? "Then what is this really about?" she pressed, her heart beating faster as anticipation built. "It's about us," he said simply, each word hanging in the air like a delicate promise. "You're more than just a name to me. I need you to believe that." "But people are cruel," she replied, insecurity creeping back in. "They twist everything to fit their narratives. You know that as well as I do." The Duke shook his head, stepping closer, creating a space where their worlds collided. "Let them talk. What they think doesn't define us. I had to make a choice, and I chose you. I want to know you. I want to protect you from all of this." Mia searched his face, trying to decipher his sincerity. Could it be true? Was he risking himself for her? It's not easy, she said softly. I face a lot out there. Everyone expects me to just fade away. I want to let you fade, he said earnestly, a fire igniting in his voice. You're not just a rumor. You're a person with your own dreams and ambitions. And I want to help you find them. Her heart soared and sank with equal intensity. In that moment, she felt seen, like the layers of her identity peeled back for him to see her true self. What if this turns into a mess? She whispered, fear threading through her words. We'll figure it out together, he promised, his determination unwavering. But first, I need you to trust me. To trust yourself. As his words wrapped around her like a warm embrace, the door suddenly rattled behind them, startling Mia from her thoughts. Mia! Are you in there? A voice called out from outside, frenzied, fraying the intimate bond forming between them. It was her mother, her tone edged with concern. I have to go, she quickly said, panic rising as she looked back to the Duke. Would this be the end before it even began? Please, just think about what I said, he urged, a plea shimmering in his eyes. You have the power to shape your story. Don't let anyone take that from you. Especially not Gabriella. As Mia moved to the door, another wave of uncertainty crashed over her. Could she let this opportunity stand? This new path could change everything, for better or worse. She hesitated, glancing back at the Duke, who stood steady, a silent promise in his gaze. What would she choose? Would she open the door to her mother, back to the safety of her known world, or step boldly into an uncertain future with a man who might just change her life forever? The decision loomed ahead, electrifying and terrifying all at once. Would she have the courage to embrace her truth? Mia's hand hovered over the doorknob, heart racing as her mother continued to call her name from the hallway. Every sound felt magnified her mother's footsteps, the whispers of outside gossip swirling like a storm around her. The pressure to choose weighed heavily on her chest. Please, Mia. The Duke's voice was a blend of urgency and hope. You don't have to answer that right away. Just remember what I said. Trust yourself. Those words echoed in her mind, but an icy grip of doubt tightened around her heart. With a deep breath, she forced herself to turn back to him. The way he looked at her, so fiercely, so protectively, it ignited something deep within her. It felt like standing at the edge of a precipice, looking into an unknown abyss filled with possibilities, and still feeling that rush of adrenaline. Can you wait for just a moment? She asked, her voice barely more than a whisper, fraught with anxiety. His smile was shadowed with urgency but glimmering with promise. I will. With that, she swung the door open, stepping into a world she was so used to but now found stifling. Her mother's anxious face searched for her, eyebrows furrowed. Mia. Where were you? I was worried sick. She opened her mouth to reassure her, but the words stumbled in her throat. I am sorry. I was just thinking. She glanced back, her eyes catching the Duke's for just a brief moment, unsure of the newfound yearning bubbling within her. Mia, darling, we need to talk, her mother insisted, the concern in her voice stark against the other's. There is something brewing, and you need to be aware of it. The chatter among the townsfolk it's becoming worse. I know, Mia said, feeling the weight of the Duke's presence behind her. But it's not as simple as that. As the two women embraced, Mia could feel her mother's tension seeping into her skin. It is simple. You're being dragged into something murky. You must protect yourself. Her mother's words sliced through the air, suffocating. I can handle this, Mia insisted, heart pounding. But could she? The Duke's words slipped back into her mind, urging her to trust herself, to be bold. No, sweetheart, her mother's voice softened, an edge of desperation coloring her tone. You don't see how ugly it's getting. The Duke's power is unyielding, and you are in the eye of a storm. We need to steer clear of him. But why did the thought of steering clear make her feel so hollow? The excitement from moments ago slipped away, replaced by an undeniable longing for something different. I need to make my own decisions. I can't just retreat into safety forever, Mia said, surprising even herself. Was it truly her own voice, speaking so fiercely? Mia. Her mother's voice trembled, almost pleading. You don't understand where this could lead. People get hurt when they get too close to power. I've seen it. At that moment, the air around them grew thick with tension. Was staying safe what she truly wanted? Or could she walk a path where she discovered who she really was? I need to find out, she said finally, conviction building with each word. Her heart proudly declared its battle with fear. But before she could say another word, an unexpected knock resonated through the room, cutting the intensity like a knife. Mia, we must talk. Now, a commanding voice came from outside, the unmistakable voice of Gabriella, her childhood rival. Mia's breath caught. What could Gabriella want now? The stakes seemed to rise immeasurably. She glanced at her mother, who wore a mixture of apprehension and irritation, and then back to the Duke, whose calm expression stood as a striking contrast to the chaos brewing around them. Were they truly ready for this confrontation? The choice hung precariously in the balance. And just like that, Mia felt the tremors of her impending decision pulse through her. What would Gabriella reveal? How far would this storm push her, and would she have the courage to lean into the unknown? The door loomed before her, a gate into chaos, and her heart raced with the realization that she might never be the same again. Mia took a deep breath, her heart pummeling against her ribcage. The knock came again, sharp and insistent, slicing through the tension like a knife. She glanced between her mother and the Duke, the weight of their expectations heavy in the air. Should I? She started, but the words faltered. Her mother's eyes widened in a mix of fear and apprehension. Do not open that door. Her mother urged, searching Mia's face for a trace of compliance. But curiosity burned bright inside her. Gabriella had always been a master at stirring trouble, sometimes just for the thrill of it. I need to know, Mia whispered, almost to herself. Steeling herself, she stepped over the threshold and swung the door open wide. Gabriella stood there, poised and elegant as always, but with a darkness shadowing her eyes that Mia had never seen before. Hello, Mia, she greeted, her smile sharp, almost predatory. We need to talk. About what? Mia said, trying to hide the tremor in her voice. Gabriella's gaze flickered down the hallway, and for a moment, there was uncertainty on her face. Then she straightened, fixing Mia with a challenging stare. About your little escapade with the Duke. Word travels fast, you know. A chill ran down Mia's spine. What do you mean? We've done nothing wrong. Oh, but you have, Gabriella cooed, a venomous edge to her voice. You're venturing into dangerous waters, my dear. Playing with fire. Mia felt an anger rise within her. I can make my own choices, Gabriella. You don't get to dictate my life. Choices? Gabriella's laugh was a sharp note cutting through the heavy atmosphere. Do you really think you're in control? You're just a pawn, a beautiful pawn in a twisted game. Mia's heart thudded in her chest, the unease festering. And what would you know of power? You've never held any. Gabriella's eyes sparkled with something dangerous. That's where you're mistaken. I am well aware of what it feels like to be under someone's thumb. Until you're in that position, you'll never understand. Is that why you're here? To threaten me? Mia retorted, hands tightening into fists. No. I'm here to offer you a warning, Gabriella said, her expression shifting from predatory to almost sympathetic. The Duke may seem charming, but remember, he is still a man driven by ambition. And ambition has no regard for feelings. Mia's stomach twisted. She looked back at her mother, who stood just behind her, fear etched across her face like a mask. Why? Why would you care? She shot back, confusion flooding the rage. Because. Gabriella hesitated, her voice tinged with something akin to sincerity. I don't want to see you hurt. I've seen what happens to girls who get too close. Mia's breath hitched. What do you mean? The words slipped from Gabriella's lips like shadows in the dark. People have disappeared, Mia. They've lost their lives due to the games of power, and the Duke is at the center of it all. The world around Mia dimmed, the colors fading as fear gripped her heart. That can't be true. Can't it? Gabriella's voice softened, the edge of cruelty replaced with something more sincere. Think about it. Ask yourself if what he offers is worth the risk. Mia felt lightheaded. The storm within her began to calm, but new doubts rushed in like a tide. I still have to. I have to figure this out for myself, she breathed, though less confidently than before. Gabriella studied her intently, eyes narrowing. Just be careful, Mia. You might just find that ignorance is a luxury you can't afford. As Gabriella turned to leave, Mia's heart raced, her mind racing ahead of her thoughts. She stood frozen, the weight of uncertainty heavy. What lay ahead? Who could she trust? Then, from the corner of her eye, she caught the Duke watching her, expression inscrutable. Mia's heart twisted. Would she risk everything for a feeling that could lead her into darkness? With Gabriella's warning echoing in her mind, Mia took a shuddering breath. The path ahead felt more treacherous than ever. Would she have the strength to confront the Duke with the truth? The moment lingered like a fog, thick and suffocating. It was time for a choice, but what truly lay behind that choice? Mia felt the chill that Gabriella had left hanging in the air. She turned to face the Duke, apprehension tightening her chest. His gaze was steady, and the warmth she had felt in his presence before was now laced with uncertainty. He seemed to sense her inner turmoil, his expression unreadable. Mia, he said slowly, stepping forward. Is everything all right? How could she respond? What would she say that wouldn't betray the whirlwind of emotions thrumming inside her? I just spoke with Gabriella, the words slipped out. At the mention of Gabriella's name, the Duke's posture stiffened. She saw the flicker of recognition in his eyes, followed by something else. Was it regret? I see, he murmured. She always had a knack for stirring trouble. Mia's heart trembled. But why do you let her manipulate things? She could feel the heat of anger rising, blending with fear. What is it you're involved in? The Duke sighed, raking a hand through his dark hair. I wish I could explain everything, but it's not simple, Mia. There are forces at play beyond what you can understand. Try me, Mia challenged, her voice stronger than she felt. Because Gabriella makes it sound like you're a monster. Monsters? He echoed, frustration seeping in. You think I wanted this life? To be viewed as a villain? I do what I must to protect myself, to protect the people I care about. In this world, power is a double-edged sword. Mia stepped back, the hurt sharp against her skin. You mean you'll use others just to maintain your position? She shook her head, her voice trembling. That's not who I want to be, who I thought you were. I want to be a pawn in your game. His eyes hardened at her outburst, but there was something more there, something vulnerable. I want to help you, Mia. But I need you to understand, there are dangers lurking at every corner. I never wanted to put you in this position. This position? She shot back, clutching the doorframe to steady herself. Do you mean being forced to choose between love and safety? His gaze softened, but the shadows still lingered as he spoke. I never wished for your feelings to complicate this, but you mean more to me than you know. Questions churned in her mind. Did he truly care, or was this just part of his game? She wanted to believe in him, but Gabriella's haunting warnings echoed louder than her heart's whispers. What if Gabriella is right? She managed, her voice trembling. What if you're just using me for your own ends? The Duke stepped closer, and the tension in the air crackled. "Mia, look at me." His voice dropped, firm yet soothing. "I'm not your enemy. Those people you fear, they are the true monsters here." "What do you mean?" Anxiety washed over her again. She desperately wanted clarity. "People you know have vanished because of their ties to me," he confessed, anguish etched on his face. "This world is treacherous. It's more than just ambition, it's survival. You deserve to know the truth, but I fear it won't be easy for you to hear." Mia felt a wave of emotion crash over her. Fear mixed with concern, both for herself and for the Duke. "So what do you want me to do?" His eyes searched hers, and she saw the vulnerability there, the desperation. "I want you to trust me, even when it seems impossible." As the silence wrapped around them, Mia felt torn. Could trust be built on so fragile a foundation? Suddenly, a loud crash from the hallway jolted her from her thoughts. Mia's heart raced as she exchanged a glance with the Duke. Something was definitely wrong, and they might not have much time to decide. "What's happening?" she whispered urgently. He moved toward the doorway, but Mia caught his arm, dread pooling in her stomach. "Wait. What if it's too dangerous out there?" "I can't let you face this alone," he murmured, his voice low but loaded with conviction. What lay beyond that door? Would they confront the truth or descend deeper into the shadows? As the crash echoed again, adrenaline surged through her veins. The choice was no longer solely hers. Would she stand by him, or flee into the uncertain night? Mia's breath caught in her throat. The moment felt electric. Whatever awaited them on the other side, one thing was clear: they were no longer just players, they were now participants in a game that could change their lives forever. But who would pay the ultimate price? The Duke pushed the door open, a rush of cool air swirling into the room. It brought with it the scent of damp earth and something metallic blood. Mia's heart raced, a mix of fear and determination flooding her senses. She could see shadows moving just outside the threshold, the threat tangible and close. "Stay behind me," he instructed, his voice steady, yet barely contained urgency flickered in his eyes. Mia took a deep breath, the weight of his command pressing down on her. "No. If we're doing this, we do it together." Her words trembled on the edge of defiance, but she felt an unexpected surge of strength. With a quick nod, he stepped further into the hallway, leading the way but allowing her the choice to stay close. Mia followed, her feet seeming to move on their own, adrenaline pumping through her veins. As they walked, the sounds around them became clearer: shouting, the clashing of metal, a muffled cry. Each noise drove home the reality that they were diving into chaos. "What is happening?" she whispered, trying to mask the tremor in her voice. "An attack," he said tersely. "They want me." A shiver ran down her spine. "Who? Why?" "Rival factions. They want to exploit my weaknesses, force me to comply or eliminate anyone close to me." His eyes darted around as they approached the end of the hallway, where the noise intensified. Mia felt a mix of anger and hurt. "So I'm just collateral damage in this mess?" "No. You are not collateral." The Duke's tone cleared the air, filled with a fierce intensity that took her off guard. "You mean more to me than you realize. This is about protecting you as much as it is about protecting myself." Mia's heart thudded, confusion swirling in her mind. Did he really mean it? The sincerity in his eyes pulled her closer even as the fear loomed larger. "How can I trust you?" she demanded, her voice barely above a whisper. Before he could answer, a loud crash echoed from the stairwell, sending a cluster of soldiers spilling into the corridor. They were armed, faces set in grim determination, like wolves drawn to a wounded animal. "Mia, run!" the Duke shouted, throwing her behind him as he positioned himself protectively. Her instincts kicked in, she couldn't leave him. "I won't abandon you." A moment of hesitation brushed across his face. "You have to go. It's safer." Before she could argue further, the first soldier lunged, and the Duke reacted, grabbing his arm and twisting it behind his back. But there were too many. Another soldier came at him from the side, forcing Mia into a choice she never wanted to make. "Get out of here!" He yelled again, but she felt her feet root to the ground. But she remembered the warmth in his expression earlier, the way he looked at her. The truth of their connection, that spark of something deeper flickering between them. This was bigger than them now. "Help me!" She finally screamed, taking a step towards him, adrenaline coursing as she snatched a heavy candlestick from a nearby table, old, but sturdy. "Mia, no. It's too dangerous." Determination fueled her. "I want to let you fight this alone." She swung the candlestick with all her might, catching one of the soldiers off guard. The metallic clang sliced through the chaos, followed by a grunt as he stumbled back. The Duke's gaze softened for the briefest moment as he squared off against his attackers, but then the chaos swallowed him again. They fought side by side, an unlikely duo against the tide of threats bearing down on them. But as they battled, a thought nagged at Mia: was he truly fighting for her, or was this all part of something much darker? With every blow she exchanged, a fear blossomed in her chest. What if there were deeper secrets lurking in the shadows, waiting to tear them apart? With one last push, they jolted into the main hall where the chaos reigned. The reality of their situation crashed in all around them, overwhelming and brutal. Mia's heart raced as she felt the weight of uncertainty settle over them. Would their fleeting trust be enough to survive the storm ahead? Just then, as the tension swelled, she caught a glimpse of a figure standing at the top of the staircase, a familiar silhouette that sent a chill through her bones. Gabriella had returned, and she wasn't alone. What did this sinister reunion mean for Mia and the Duke? The air was thick with tension, a charged silence pulsing between the shouts and snarls echoing from below. Mia's heart pounded wildly as she locked her gaze on Gabriella. This wasn't just a reunion, this was an unveiling of something more dangerous than any soldier. "Gabriella!" she shouted, her voice cracking. "What are you doing here?" Gabriella's lips curled into a smirk, but her eyes were cold, calculating. "Oh, my dear Mia," she said, stepping forward into the flickering light. "I've come to collect what I'm due. That includes you and the Duke." The Duke's hand tightened around the hilt of his sword. "You're outnumbered, Gabriella. Your tricks won't work today." She laughed softly, a sound that dripped with malice. "You think I came alone? There's an entire battalion waiting just outside. I always come prepared." Mia felt a cold dread settle in the pit of her stomach. "You won't get away with this," she insisted, trying to sound brave, even as uncertainty gnawed at her. "We'll fight you." "Fight me?" "Sweetheart," Gabriella cooed, a mocking tone lacing her words. "You're not even the main event." She tilted her head, the shadows playing against her features like fleeting ghosts. "You don't realize the power you've unwittingly wielded by standing beside him. The Duke is my ticket to a greater prize." Mia's pulse quickened. "You think you can use him? What are you after?" "What I've always wanted: control." Gabriella's voice dropped, turning serious. "And you, my dear, are merely a pawn in this game. Without you, he's vulnerable. I need you to be a part of this." Mia suppressed a shiver. A pawn? The truth of Gabriella's intentions ripped through her, and with it, the burning resolve to stand strong. The Duke stepped closer to Mia, drawing her into his protective embrace. "You will not touch her," he declared, his resolve unwavering. "I won't let you manipulate her." Before Gabriella could reply, the soldiers she had supposedly summoned began to burst into the hall, flooding the space. Their faces, obscured by helmets, gave no hint of the fear coiling within Mia. They were ready to follow orders, ready to fight. "Think fast," Gabriella commanded, her voice rising above the clamor. Mia glanced at the Duke, their eyes locking in a moment that seemed to carve out the chaos around them. She felt a surge of energy, love, loyalty, and fierce determination radiating from him. "We can face them," she yelled, even as doubt clawed at her. In unison, they advanced, but Gabriella's soldiers blocked the way. The sound of clanging metal mixed with the heartbeats ringing in Mia's ears. It felt like a storm brewing, charging forward to consume them. "Mia!" the Duke shouted as a soldier lunged at him, but Mia was prepared this time. Instead of standing frozen, she leaped forward and swung her candlestick again, striking the soldier with a solid thud. The world narrowed down to just the two of them, Mia and the Duke, against this overwhelming tide. Yet, within that space of chaos, there was clarity. A quiet bond that renewed her strength. "Together!" he yelled, launching into the fray. With courage solidified by their connection, they fought back to back, the rhythm of battle grounding them in an unpredictable tide. Mia's thoughts raced. Could they endure this? Was the threat greater than they had ever anticipated? Just as they seemed to gain ground, the atmosphere shifted with the arrival of a new figure in the doorway, a well-dressed gentleman cloaked in darkness, his presence alone commanding attention. Mia's breath caught in her throat as she recognized him, a face that delivered confidence and dread in equal parts. "Eric?" she gasped, her mind struggling to piece together the fragments of this drawn-out nightmare. What was he doing here? And what did he want? The true battle was just beginning. Mia's heart raced as Eric stepped into the chaotic room, an enigmatic smile painting his lips. The air thickened with uncertainty. Well, Mia," he drawled, locking his gaze on the Duke, "you've thrown quite the party, haven't you?" The Duke's steely expression remained unflinching. "You're trespassing, Eric. Leave now, and we can part as enemies without consequences." But Eric only chuckled, his eyes glinting with malice. "Consequences? Oh, I thrive on those. I want to see how this unfolds." He lifted a hand and gestured, signaling his soldiers to tighten their grip. "Let the games begin." Fear surged through Mia as the scene escalated. Soldiers surrounded them, weapons drawn, ready to strike. She turned to the Duke, desperation welling in her chest. "What do we do?" "We stand our ground," he replied, urgency in his voice, his confidence igniting something fierce within her. "Together," she echoed, feeling courage bloom like fire in her veins. With a nod, they moved in unison, fighting not just for their lives, but for each other, hearts beating in sync amid the chaos. Mia swung her candlestick with newfound determination, its weight comforting in her grip. The clanging sounds of battle filled her ears as they worked together against the encroaching threat. With every strike, she felt the weight of Gabriella's accusations lifting off her shoulders. She was no pawn, but a warrior with purpose. Eric's laughter broke through the din, taunting them. "This might be amusing, but it won't end how you hope. You don't know the stakes you're playing with." "Stakes?" Mia shot back, fierce defiance coursing through her. "I know I'm fighting for more than myself. I'm fighting for a life I want, one where I define my future." The Duke's eyes met hers, and in that fleeting moment, she saw not just admiration, but shared vision. They could do this together. "Don't let fear guide your decisions," he yelled, his voice cutting through the chaos. "We fight for what we value, our safety, our choices. You are not just a pawn, Mia. You are the queen of your own story." Mia's resolve sparked even brighter. She lunged forward, knocking down an approaching soldier, her spirit igniting as she fought alongside the Duke. Their connection deepened with every swing of the candlestick. They were no longer separate entities but a force forged in the fire of conflict. As the battle raged on around them, the tides began to turn. Their combined efforts created a wave of resistance, pushing against Eric's men. Slowly, they gained ground, pushing back the overwhelming odds. Gabriella stood by the door, watching with a mix of surprise and annoyance as the tide shifted. "This can't be happening," she mumbled, frustration creeping into her features. "Not so high and mighty now, are we?" Mia called out, adrenaline surging as she caught a glimpse of her childhood rival's uncertainty. Mia's confidence surged as she faced Eric, the man who had previously held power over her. "You underestimated me," she yelled, the words of her mother echoing in her mind. "You thought you could control our lives. But we will write our own destinies." Eric's smirk faded, anger flaring. "Not if I can help it, Mia. You think you can defy me?" He lunged at her, but the Duke interjected, fiercely matching Eric's intensity. Mia watched, breathless, as the two men clashed like titans. Fear mixed with exhilaration surged through her as she saw the strength of their conviction. No longer was she just a spectator in her own life, she was a participant with agency. "Keep fighting," the Duke barked. "We're winning, but it won't hold unless we maintain this unity." With one final, sweeping move, Mia struck, the candlestick connecting solidly with Eric, who stumbled back in shock. The room surged with energy, a palpable shift in balance. "Enough!" Gabriella shouted, feeling the momentum switch. "I won't let this stand. Soldiers! Retreat!" But the chaos was already collapsing around them. Eric, realizing the battle was lost, swept a glare toward the duo. "This isn't over, Mia. I'll be back for what's mine." In an instant, he darted out the door, leaving a trail of uncertainty in his wake. The remaining soldiers hesitated, their resolve shaken. They too fled, sensing defeat. When the last echo of footsteps faded, the noise in the room gave way to silence, heavy with triumph and disbelief. "We did it," Mia panted, looking at the Duke. Relief washed over her, flooding her veins with warmth. "We did," he confirmed, breathless with surprise, his awe reflected in his eyes. As they stood amidst the remnants of battle, Mia felt her heart swell, joy replacing fear like sunrise over a shadowed landscape. "Together, we can face anything." The Duke took her hands in his, the gravity between them electric. "You've given me the courage to fight for what matters, Mia. But more importantly, you've taught me that love is our greatest strength." Tears stung her eyes at the sincerity in his voice. "But the consequences," she began, doubt creeping back in. "Consequences may still come," he said softly, brushing a finger over her cheek. "But we will navigate them together, as partners." And with that declaration, Mia felt a weight lift from her shoulders. She wouldn't just follow the path laid before her. She would forge her own destiny, surrounded by those who truly cared for her. In that moment, she felt the last shreds of doubt dissolve into clarity. The journey may be fraught with challenges, but it was hers. And with the Duke by her side, she had already taken the first courageous steps towards rebuilding her life. "Let us write this story," she whispered, gripping his hands tighter, a radiant smile breaking through her uncertainty. "Together," he affirmed, and with that promise, they both knew this was just the beginning of their shared adventure, one filled with love, bravery, and the freedom to be themselves. Now, as they stood in the aftermath, something deep within Mia shifted. She was ready for whatever would come next, full of hope and determination to build a life far beyond her dreams. This was the moment she transformed, and she was eager to embrace every second of it. And now, we need you to join this journey, to become part of our story's growth. You need to subscribe now to not miss incredible tales ahead. This is the moment to show your support. Make sure to leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep these stories alive. Drop a comment below with your feelings about this epic ending, and don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Let's grow this community together and spread the power of courage and love.